Okay, welcome back. Now we have to compare fractions and decimals and decide which one is greater than. In order to do that, they have to be in the same form. So this one's pretty easy to see that 0.7 can be turned into 7/10. And then I can find a common denominator between 10 and 20. My common denominator then becomes 20, and my numerator would become 14 because I'm taking everything times 2. And then I can see that the 7/10 is bigger because comparing my numerators, 14 is bigger than 13. For B, I can compare my numerators right away since my denominators are the same. And since it's a negative, I know that 13 is automatically going to be bigger because it's positive. Okay, looking at these ones, I can take 1/4 really quickly to hundredths to turn into a decimal. So if I multiply by 25, I'm left with 25 100ths. And then my decimal becomes 0.25. And I know 0.25 is bigger than 20 because we'd all rather have 25 cents than we would 20. Okay, same thing happens over here for B. I have to compare and turn them both into decimals and or fractions. So I know right away that this one's going to be negative 0.6 repeating because it's a 9 in my denominator. And then my 5/8, I'm just going to take 5 divided by 8 and find out what that is really quick. So 8 goes into 56 times, subtract 48, and I'm left with 2. Bring down a 0. 8 goes into 22 times, minus 16. I'm left with 4. Annex is 0. 8 goes into 45 times, so 0.625. So automatically I could have stopped after my second one because 0.6 repeating is going to be larger. Looking at this one, then we get into word problems. So we have 30 out of 36 7th graders and 34 out of 40 8th graders participated in a marathon for charity. Which class had the greater fraction participating in the marathon? So when I'm looking at that one, I am going to actually reduce these so I can have a little bit nicer numbers. So when I look at 30, 36, this reduces to 5/6 if I divide them both by 6. And this one reduces to 17/20. Well, right away I know I can take my 17/20 into 100 and make it easy. So if I take this into 100 and multiply it by 5, 17 times 5 then becomes 85. So this decimal becomes 0.85. 5/6, I'm just going to do the simple division really quick. So 5 divided by 6. 6 goes into 50 8 times, minus 48. I'm left with 2. Annex is 0. 6 goes into 23 times, minus 18. I'm left with 2. And it's going to end up repeating. So I know that the 17 or the 34/40 is going to be bigger because in the end 85/100 ends up bigger. And the bottom it says Jeremy got a score of 16/20 on his first quiz and a 20 out of 25 on his next. I can take both of these to 100 and make it really, really easy. So if I take 16/20 to 100, I'm going to multiply everything by 5. So 20 times 5 is 100. 16 times 5 is 88. No, I lied. 16 times 5 is 80. And then if I look at 20/25, I multiply everything by 4. I'm going to be left with 80/100. And they end up being equal to each other, so he should have gotten the same grade. So I can put 16/20 is actually equal to 20/25 because they both equal 80%. Okay. Notice how even though I'm doing my decimals in my work, I always revert back to the original answer. That way, for standardized testing, you know that you're working on and looking at the original problem. The last thing we need to do is we need to be able to order these and compare these. So in order to order them, I need them all in decimal form again. So 7/10 becomes 0.7. 0.6 is already decimal. 0.72 repeating is already decimal. And 16/25 is easy to convert because if I multiply by 4, I'll have 0.64 because 25 over 100. And then I can easily see which one is my smallest. So my smallest is 0.6, so I'm going to start there. My next smallest is 16 over 25, so I'm going back and writing it in the original form. Then I have 7/10, and then finally I end with 0.72 repeating. Okay, so these are the ones that we need to make sure that decimals, everything is the same, and then we need to make sure that we are putting them back in the original form. Okay, do this one on your own really quickly, pause the video, and then I will give you the answer. You should have gotten 1/4 should have been 0.25, 1/5 should have been 0.20, so you should have had 1/5, 0.21, 23%, and then ending with 1/4. The rest of the class, you have a couple of pizzazzes you need to complete and turn in. If you do not complete them, they become homework. It's working on simplifying fractions, comparing and ordering fractions and decimals, and then you will have no graded homework or graded practice tonight if you complete the pizzazzes. So I hope you have a great Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow.